time for Talking Shit. Hello, everybody. Haven't seen you in a while. Welcome to another edition of Talking Shit. Today is May the 2nd. We got a lot of stuff to cover, and it's so much stuff to cover that I have my friend here who has been acting as sort of a correspondent for Talking Shit with some of the work he's been doing lately. Robert D., our good friend, is here. Robert is also going to be involved in a panel of discussion that we're going to have in a couple of weeks. He and several of our reappearing guests will be here to discuss current events, and Robert's going to be a part of that group discussion. Anyway, I want to talk about a couple of things before I bring Robert in, who is going to be talking about some footage that we have on an event that he covered out at Cal State Dominguez, which is really kind of like one of those social fairs that social justice fair that Robert invited us to over at El Camino. But before we get into that, I want to talk. I have a couple of comments I want to make about the bombings that took place in Boston. Talking a little bit about the arrests that were made yesterday. Three of this guy's friends, the younger brother who was not killed. I'm not even going to mess his name up or glorify it, but I just wanted to make a comment that, you know, water seeks its own level. These guys were throwing away backpacks, and one of the guys tried to destroy the computer. They lied to the police, and it's just really healthy to see such middle-class, wonderful, you know, students from another country whose visas were expired. It's good to see that and only that be dealt with, rather than somebody trying to make a blanket statement toward all immigrants. I'm appreciative that the police or the guys in charge of this investigation are really trying to focus in on just those individuals. Apparently there's 12 other people that are under questioning for assisting these lunatics for setting off those bombs at the Boston Marathon finish line. I really think it's sad that that took place, and hopefully this violence, this insanity will somehow be curbed or stopped. It almost reminds me of the senseless killing that's going on in Syria. I'm not comfortable with folk talking about, you know, more war and rumors of wars. I do not believe that we should send troops over there. I feel that it's going to add to the chaos and the confusion and just the maiming of those innocent bystanders in the middle of those rebels and the government forces at odds with each other. So anyway, last comment I want to make before we talk to Robert is about the gun lobbying and the fact that the universal background checks, Senate, it didn't pass, and it's just sickening and it disgusts me. And I think the NRA stands for nincompoops running astray, these assholes. I mean, I know everybody respects the NRA. I don't. I don't care if Michael Moore is a part of the NRA. I don't care that certain Americans feel that this organization validates their Second Amendment participation. I think it's ludicrous. There was no such thing as a fucking NRA when that amendment was written. So I don't really think there's a need for the NRA other than to promote gun sales. And I think the NRA is a joke. And I'm not afraid of the NRA. I grew up around gang members. If they're going to shoot me, it's not going to be because of this broadcast. It's because somebody is insane. And I just think they're stupid. I don't like them. I think that the NRA is causing a lot of trouble. And they're very disrespectful to those parents and those people who lost loved ones in the Sunny, in that school where all those kids were killed, and the principal and the psychiatrist, and just gunning down people all over the place. And I don't know. I feel that the NRA is really causing a lot of trouble in this country with their stance on the right to bear arms, turning into some sort of a slogan to sell arms to individuals in this country. And I don't like it. I think it's ridiculous. Anyway, that's my take on all of that. And I said that so Robert, who totally disagrees with me, won't have a chance to say anything.
There's only a few things that I disagree with.
Well, I know, and I know you want to disagree. I just don't think that. I don't think that when the Second Amendment was written, they were talking about, everybody having a gun. I think that was about the British treating us like shit, and we needed to be ready for their asses.
What the founding fathers, my impression is that what the founding fathers were concerned of was a similar situation that was with like the British, that their own government was going to be, had the potential to be abusive, and that the Second Amendment, as well as the other amendments, were designed for citizens to have protection from their government, and that the Second Amendment was to guarantee that if they didn't have, basically if the government didn't have, consent of the governed, then civilians would have the opportunity to basically install a new government. Well,
it's good to see that was, written. I think that when folk are oppressed, they don't look for doctrine to make a lawful address. The people just stand up. I mean, otherwise, there was no amendment that was written to free the slaves, except for the fact that later on certain things were changed. I mean, when it comes to like revolution or standing up for your rights, a lot of times you can't wait for things to be written. And I believe that if this government kind of goes crazier than, and I know you believe that it already has gone crazy, but I just believe that, nobody should own a nuclear weapon just because the government has them, or that the government may get mad at us and, nuke Watts or something, that I in turn should have nuclear weapons over in Glendale just in case the government uses nuclear weapons. Because that's what it turns into, right? I mean, first it's rifles, then it's bomb. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it just seems like the Second Amendment is being prostituted because people are angry and they don't like the government. I mean, I don't feel that we all need guns. I mean, do you own a gun?
No.
Okay. But do you believe that the Second Amendment is something that you can respect without a gun? I mean, shouldn't you own a gun in order for the Second Amendment to make sense?
No, I think that I reserve the right to, be able to purchase a firearm if I'd like to, if I feel like I need that. That's something.
And should we know should we know that you're crazy or whatever before we sell it? I mean, isn't that what the main part of the legislation was? Is that we don't want wackos to be able to buy the gun?
Well, what about all the wackos that are running around with assault rifles with PTSD? They're coming back from foreign wars.
Well, yeah, but what about all the slavery that's going on and the human trading that's going on out of Asia? Does that mean that we should, somehow, revisit our slavery laws because slavery is still going on, that somehow we sort of missed something and we should reinsert certain things to, make sure that no slavery at all does? I mean, it's just kind of a weak argument, the idea that we shouldn't worry about laws that protect us from crazy people getting guns because crazy people have guns. That's
like, that wasn't the point I was trying to make. The point that I'm trying to make is that we get caught up on the wrong topics.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, okay, we're focusing on the individual's right to bear arms and why we need to control that, but we're not talking about how we've militarized our law enforcement.
Right.
And we're not talking about the hundreds of thousands of American citizens that are shot and killed by law enforcement throughout the year. That's not even really being discussed. And I guess the point that I'm trying to make is that why are we talking about this and not talking about that?
Well, it's politically correct in this country for the police to have more authority or more control over citizens or common citizens who aren't part of the law enforcement community. So that to me is, I don't know if I agree with that, but I mean, it kind of alludes to your topic. I think it kind of goes along with your topic. It's that, here are the police shooting all these people, and we're focused on people just shooting people. My concern is more guns is not going to resolve anything, whether we focus on how many people the police are killing or how many people, common citizens are killing people. I'm freaked out by the amount of guns that are being sold in this country, opposed to all the guns that are already in this country that are loose. I think there's like 3 million. There's over 3 million or something guns or so. I don't know. I heard some ridiculous figure. I agree with you. I think police brutality universally is gotten out of control. But I think part of it is the policing community is scared, and the way you handle fear is with more violence. I mean, I don't know.
I think that they're making a political issue out of what is a mental health issue.
That's a good point.
And that's ultimately my concern, is that we're making a political and an economic issue out of something that's really a mental health issue.
Right.
And in this country, there's so much stigma placed on mental health that it's just largely left out of the discussion.
Well, part of what I've seen with mental health is it's either medicated or resituated. Nobody is truthfully looking into how to really deal with certain mental health issues, particularly these madmen, and it used to be the angry white male syndrome. Well, no, I mean, the guys in the Boston massacre, I like to call it almost, they were people of color from other countries or whatever, and it's just like, how do these people slip through the cracks? I mean, these guys didn't even have guns. They had, a steam cooker, Vaseline, and nails. I mean, so you're right. I agree with you. I think the gun issue is being sort of prostituted almost. And nobody is really saying, wait a minute, what about, because you could be crazy with like this thing right here. Like I could start stabbing him with, and so what is it, the pen RA? I agree with you. I think that mental health is very, very overlooked. And these are young people too.
Yeah. And if it's like treated like a mental health issue, then you can also look at, okay, the officers that have PTSD, like you're giving them guns and they have a difficult time transitioning into society and not treating these lower income neighborhoods like war zones. And then you have these individuals citizens in the community who are also having mental health issues, who may not have access, to mental health services, and then they get their hands on a gun and they go postal. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, I just see we flip the script on how we treat mental health in this country, we have lower incidences of gun violence.
Not only gun violence, but we're talking about niacin and other things that people use to hurt people. One of the signs, and I'm going to have JP show when we edit this episode, the little kid holding up a sign. That kid that was killed in Boston said, "No more hurting people." In other words, it ain't just the guns. It's the niacin, it's the bombs, it's the violence, it's the disrespect that we show each other sometimes in society. And it is, I think an overreaching of police, brutality too. I've seen some of that. I grew up around that. Let's talk real quick, we're running out of time, about what went on over there at Cal State Dominguez. We have some footage, we'll be showing that. You talked to what was the name of the event? I want to get the...
It was the 5th annual Labor, Social, and Environmental Justice Fair.
Wow.
At Cal State University, Dominguez Hills.
Okay, here's some footage of that and what Robert kind of did over there. Let's take a look.
So this is the edge of the fair. We have a few organizations here. This is the People's Print slab. They're all out of shirts now, but they're really badass. And they had a bunch of cool designs about social justice issues. This is San Pedro Neighbors for Peace and Justice, which is organized by Chris Venn, who I have a long-standing relationship with. And they work in a lot of high schools. They have a summer peace camp, which they take high school students from multiple high schools and have a camp that's devoted to peace and justice. this is Radical Women, which is a feminist organization that's really badass. It's the California Student Union Project. I gave a presentation earlier today. I have footage of that. Which I have a long-standing relationship with, and some artwork that you have.
So talk to me a little bit about, in addition to what we saw in the footage, talk to me a little bit about the San Pedro Neighborhood for Peace and Justice. What that table?
That table, the primary organizer, his name is Chris Venn, and I've done a lot of work with him in the past 2 years. Basically, he's gone to all these different high schools in the San Pedro, Long Beach area, and he set up these peace clubs.
Wow.
So he has these peace clubs in K-12 schools, and they talk about a variety of peace issues, and it all leads up to this summer peace camp that I've also been to. I did a workshop for them last year. So he's really active in the community. He does a lot of other things. They have a weekly vigil on Fridays in San Pedro. They also work with veterans who are against the war, and bring speakers to different high schools and stuff like that. And they do a lot of counter recruitment as well.
Okay, so you tell me what the difference between the San Pedro Neighbors for Peace and Justice. What's the difference between that organization and the California Student Union? What do they have in common or not?
Well, the California Student Union is a statewide effort.
Do you like that transition? Did you see how I did that? That's some cold ass shit. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So the California Student Union is a statewide effort to basically create a democratic student union. The organizers statewide that are involved with this believe that the current, student government structures are basically co-opted and have no real influence on the decisions that are made educationally, which is true. I mean, there really is no, other than lobbying, we really have no power within our current student governmental structures.
Now, you're a part of this organization,
yes.
right? So you're about to go over to Cal State Dominguez. You're leaving El Camino finally. I know the staff is ready to get rid of your ass.
I'll be gone and they'll still be.
Yeah, you're the on-site talking shit, DeAndre. So going over to this new school, will you be, can we count on you to kind of be, kind of a, what do they call it, a bird dog toward any kind of stuff going on over there, any kind of events or whatever thing that, I want you to commit to that. I think that you have done an excellent job, and I was talking to another person who is a part of what you've organized over at El Camino, and I think you've done an excellent job on being over here, helping us understand some of this stuff, because I wasn't familiar with all this stuff. In conclusion, what was the final kind of like saying, or what was the overall thing that you learned or noticed at this most recent event?
At Dominguez Hills?
Right.
I mean, we've had a few more years to be able to basically play with some ideas and develop as a fair, in comparison to the one that I organized. So next year I hope to help organize and contribute some of my ideas to the fair, but also I'm going to continue to develop the fair at El Camino College, but from Dominguez Hills.
Wow.
And we've actually, because the fair was so successful at our college.
It was. We have footage of that. Check our website. Check the website, talkingshit.org. There's footage of the event that took place at El Camino a few months ago. Go ahead, Robert.
So we've actually turned it into an official program. So it's turned from something that's just going to be an annual event and is now a program. And what we're planning on doing is a series of monthly events throughout the year that are educational, focusing on a variety of social justice issues, in addition to the fair. For instance, we just had one on sexual assault and prevention by Peace Over Violence, and 103 students were able to show up and participate.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Kind of unprecedented in regards to most types of events like that have taken place.
And considering that so many people are over there trying to scramble to pay for school and actually take classes and study and do all their work, to take time out to kind of nurture what's in store for them when they leave college and these kind of outreach things that you're doing, I think it's really a thumbs up for you and the organizing that you've done. And what is there. I mean, don't you love this guy? He's good work. What about the up and coming? Anything coming up that you can tell us about? Any other events that are on the radar for you that you're going to be looking at? Anything new?
Currently nothing at the moment. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's happened around this time because of May Day, so there's a lot of things that took place earlier this week. For instance, I was just down at Cal State Long Beach on Tuesday.
Wow, you're a busy man.
And the Africana Studies Department,
I'm black,
is under attack. So they're trying to severely cut that department, and they basically had a series of events, including a ethnic panel, which is the part that
this guy's going to need more security than me and Obama one day. He's a troublemaker and a rebel rouser. Off with his head. No, I'm just kidding.
And we're just seeing, like, nationally, there's just such a severe attack on multicultural, studies. And I think that education has, such a narrow economic purpose, and that, like, multicultural education and, like, maybe communication and conflict resolution, and, is something that's also really important for helping us understand each other and not, like, battle like we do. Like,
get a gun!
You know what I mean?
Shoot him, Down, everybody down on the floor, yeah. Everybody acting like a cop in order to, just to get along, Anyway, I love you, Robert. I think you've done a great job. Don't forget to visit our website at talkingshit.org, or you can go straight to the YouTube channel to view our videos and, of course, some of the footage that Robert. Give us some kind of video. Where can we go? What kind of website, or what's your Facebook, or what can you show in connection to what you've been talking about? You got some web stuff going on there.
With the Facebook for the social justice program, it's I don't know the top of my head. I'm sorry.
Okay, we'll link it. We'll link it to our whatever it is. We'll link it at the bottom of this video, and you can just look down right now. Look down right now. It's there. The link to the Facebook page that's going to connect you to all this information. That's all the time we have now. I appreciate Robert coming out, and you'll see him again on our panel. Once again, that's going to be coming up in about a week. We're going to have a panel, social discussion, talking about social justice and some of the stuff that's going on in Syria and around the world and in this lovely country of ours. That's all the time we have now for Talking Shit. I'm DeAndre. It's Robert D. We'll talk to you later. Bye.